Are you somebody that currently struggles with PTSD, or are you in a relationship where your partner is somebody who struggles with PTSD? But just because you have PTSD or you're dealing with somebody that suffers from PTSD does not mean that you cannot have a healthy relationship. Now, in this video, I'm gonna show you how you can still have a healthy relationship while PTSD may be a factor in the relationship. So you guys sit back and we're gonna talk about it right now. What's good, y'all? If you're new to the channel, my name is Terrence Stewart. I'm a licensed therapist and I'm a men's mental health expert. And what I specialize in specifically is helping men build healthier relationships. Now, I know sometimes when we talk about romantic relationships, there's a lot of things going on around in social media of like how to find a man, balloon popping, challenges, all these TV shows around how to find a man in dating. But none of these really show how can you really build a healthy relationship. Now I submit to you, by the end of this video, you're going to know how to have a healthier relationship while PTSD may be a factor in your relationship. Now, first of all, we got to break down what is PTSD. Now, PTSD stands for post-traumatic stress disorder. Now, post-traumatic stress disorder normally happens after a traumatic event, hence the post-traumatic stress disorder. So this is something after a traumatic event may have happened. Trauma is really based on the individual and how you experience that one thing. How you would know that you actually may have PTSD, well, first of all, you would have to be formally diagnosed by somebody like myself, a therapist, or a medical professional that is able to diagnose. Now, a few symptoms of PTSD include flashbacks, severe anxiety, and uncontrollable thoughts around the actual event. Now, PTSD can have a significant impact on a relationship. Now, some of these impacts may include intrusive thoughts, which really looks like reoccurring involuntarily, meaning like you're not even trying to think about the situation, but involuntarily that you're thinking about the situation. And many times when we talk about these symptoms in a romantic relationship, can keep you from being present, meaning that if you're trying to be present with your partner or listen to them while they're talking, whatever it may be, sometimes you may not be present, be able to really fully grasp what they're saying or what they're doing. Now we know what it feels like not to be heard, right? So if you're having your own intrusive thoughts and your partner's talking to you, maybe venting about their day or talking about what's going on with them, and you're not really there, they could take it as being disrespectful. Like, hey, you don't ever listen to me, or you don't care about what I have to say. But actually, you're probably going through a process of a PTSD symptom and reliving an event and not being present in the moment, which hinders you from actually being present to your partner. Another PTSD symptom that may impact the relationship is the avoidance part. Now, sometimes these events can be tied into a relationship. So for example, if you're in a domestic violence situation or an abusive relationship and you and your partner get into an argument, it may not be the same exact thing where it may not get physical or you may not be in harm's way per se, but it can easily get to a point where you're easily triggered from the past relationships and the traumas you've experienced then to now it's showing up in your current relationship. So avoidance can be you actually not having certain conversations and simply maybe trying to keep the peace. So avoidance can be very passive to where you're just like, okay, we're just gonna do whatever you want. Or you can be super aggressive and super defensive to where if something triggers you within the relationship or a conversation you may have, you may instantly get in defense mode. Now, another part of the PTSD symptoms is negative thinking. Now, negative thinking is super important to recognize because negative thinking impacts your mood tremendously. Now, this can be feelings of hopelessness, sadness, or even emotional numbness, which if you're emotionally numb in a relationship, it's going to be very hard for you to actually be in a healthy relationship because one of the fundamental parts of a relationship is you actually being able to exchange emotions, exchange feelings, be open, allowing people in, and also the other people allow you into their space as well too on an emotional playing field. Now with PTSD symptoms, if you're having negative thoughts and this affects your moods and you're very emotionless, it can be very hard for you to actually progress and be in a healthy relationship. Now, more challenges can come with communication barriers, being emotionally distant from each other, especially if you've dealt with a traumatic event, or you've been in a previous relationship that caused a lot of the PTSD symptoms that you currently experience. So PTSD symptoms can also lead to tension and conflict in a relationship. And the reason why this happens is because there's a lot of misunderstanding when it comes down to PTSD and how it shows up in relationships, especially if the partner of the person who is experiencing the PTSD don't really understand how to support or recognize when those symptoms are coming. Then it can be a huge problem because now there's no empathy or exchange of understanding how this person who is going through these motions of PTSD in a relationship and perceiving how the world around them works with having PTSD. This also can lead to trust issues. Trauma makes it super hard to trust. The reason why it's hard to develop trust is because it's more of a defense mechanism. It was a time before the traumatic event where you may have trusted a person, a situation, a thing, or whatever it is that is surrounding the traumatic event. You trusted that situation, but now since that situation or person or thing has caused trauma to you and caused harm and psychological harm at that, it's very hard to trust again. Now, how do you support a partner who has PTSD? The first thing you want to do is educate yourself on what PTSD actually is, because this can help you understand where your partner is coming from and the things that that person is experiencing in the relationship. The second thing I'll encourage is always get professional help. Couples counseling is a good way to process some of those traumas that may be impacting the relationship, or you may need to go to your own therapy to really process how to deal with your partner and the PTSD symptoms they may be experiencing. The next thing is practice open communication. Make sure that you're clear and concise with your communication. You don't want to be passive with your communication. You don't want to be aggressive, but you want to be assertive, expressing your needs, but also being open to accepting your partner's needs as well too. The next thing is be patient and understanding. Be patient and understanding of your partner and what they're going through, and develop empathy around what they're going through, because you're not typically upset with them. You're upset with what they're going through, what they're experiencing, because that person, you may love them, you may cherish them, but those PTSD symptoms come up and it's very hard to bear and manage in the relationship. The next thing is self-care. Make sure you're taking care of yourself in the process. Make sure you're taking care of yourself in the relationship, because if you don't take care of yourself, nobody else is going to take care of you for you. I appreciate you guys for tapping in. Thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully this was helpful in understanding PTSD in relationships. And those of you who are in relationships with a partner who is struggling with PTSD, my hope is that you can utilize the tools in this video to help you have a healthier romantic relationship and not allow PTSD to be the defining factor in your relationship. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, do all that great stuff. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Terrence, Stewart, y'all take care. Peace.